Walleyeotta, say good afternoon. Today I got my stimulus check and I went out and bought my kayak a little Christmas present, and I'm going to install this onto my kayak. So that is the plan for today. And we're at least going to get it set up, get it all out. It might be a 2-day project, maybe even a 3-day, who knows. But anyways, hope you like this little who knows what this is going to turn out to be. But anyways, hope you like it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and Walleyeotta, install this bad boy. Here's the kayak that fish finder is going on to. This is my, I think it's native. I think the main is native, but it's a Titan. So the main name is Titan, or native Titan. But this is what it's going on to right here. I do got a little cubby thing that I put back here, milk crate, for all my gear and hold my battery and stuff like that. But yes, this is where it's going to go. It's going to be mounted right about here-ish, I do believe. We're going to have to do a little bit of drilling. We're going to drill some holes right up in here to mount it. And the wires are going to go underneath here. There is a transducer mount right here. So it mounts to right there. And then right here is a little wire clip, and it's got a wire channel that goes right up inside the kayak. It's designed that way. Right down in here, you can see this little groove right here. That wire comes right up here. And then I'm going to end up drilling a hole right here. So that wire is going to go from the transducer right through here, and then it's going to go right underneath, right to here, where all your wires are. And then my main wire to the battery will go all the way down the side. It's probably going to go down that side, because I got my steering cables on this side. So I'll run it down under there. It's going to go all the way back to this little access hole right here. I'm going to end up drilling a hole about right there for the wires to come up to the battery. And my battery will be in this milk crate that I got for this right here. But that's what we got going on. So yeah, it's going to be a fun little project. We're going to get that bad boy out, get it all laid out, measured out, see what we got. Okay, here's the layout of the land. This is the unit right here with the mounting bracket. That's going to be a tough fit because it's going to have to go right here to avoid the cubby hole here and my pedal drive. So it's going to be a tight fit right here. This mounting bracket for the transducer, these holes on here, these slots, don't line up with the pre-drilled holes that I have on my kayak. So I'm going to have to get my Dremel out and take right here and go inward on an angle to kind of get both sides the same way to gain enough to mount this thing, or I'm going to end up having to do it on one screw only. And I don't want to have to do that. So yeah, that's going to be a pain in the butt. That's going to take a little work. For the battery, this is a chintzy little wire, tiny wire. That's got to connect to the battery, so I'm going to have to get some kind of mounting things for that. And the cord itself is not very long. It's only about a 5-foot cord. And it will not reach all the way to the back where I wanted it. So I now have my battery under here. So we got to deal with that situation. But at least it'll all be central. It'll all be right up here. So yeah, this is my thorn in my side right here. I'm going to have to get my Dremel out and do some work and hope it works. This here is that mounting bracket for the transducer. The This is the transducer right here. These two join together. But the problem I had is this slot right here for the screws doesn't line up with the pre-drilled holes that are in my kayak. So what I had to do is I had to do some modification to this. So I had to flip it over. If you see right here, it's all ground out right there and ground out right there. That supports or is kind of hollowed out so that it sits on top of the existing screws. And then I had to re-drill 2 new holes, which I had screws to mount that. But the problem with this is I have to have this mounted to this to be able, because there's no clearance underneath. I'll actually show you that. If you see right there, there's a little cubby up in there. That's where it mounts to. And I got 2 holes drilled that's going to mount to. But side to side, there's no room. Which, because I got to mount the screws that go through this onto the bracket, because I can't get side to side because there's no room in there. So I have to mount this first. And to mount this first, there's a little shield that goes around the transducer. It's a plastic shield. Well, I had to grind that plate down to allow me to get a screwdriver in there to mount the screw holes into here and here. So that's what I had. I'm going to put that together now. See how it goes. Yeah, here we are underneath. And I'll mount that transducer up in there. And put one of the screws through. Hopefully that grinding that away helped or did the trick. Looks like it. Looks like she's gonna go on. Like that. There you are. Okay, I'll line it up a little bit more before I really wrench her down. I'm not going to wrench it down too hard. I already had these screws in and out of these holes a couple times, getting everything where it's supposed to be. There. We're in. Transducer is connected. Now it's going to go right up in here, inside of that thing and right up there. So that's the next project. Okay, the next part we did is we connected these battery terminal connectors to the main power cable, which didn't come with any. So I had to get some, I had smaller ones that I had to drill out a little bit, so they're all kind of mangled up, but we got it working. But I had to put the battery in the front compartment, because this power cord is only 6 feet long. Why they didn't make a friggin' longer power cord is beyond me. They've got a transducer cord that's 20 feet long, but the main power cord is only 6 feet. So we have to put the battery in the front. And I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to mount that. I just got it sitting on some foam right now. But we've got the terminals connected. I now need to, I'm going to end up drilling a hole right here that power cord is going to come up through, because the unit's going to be mounted right here. And I also need to drill a hole right here where the transducer wire is going to come up and go through here, underneath here, and then everything's going to come up through that hole right here. So that's the project we're going for right now. See you in a bit. Okay, we have drilled our hole, fed the transducer wire through there, and I had to make it a bigger hole because of the connector on the other end. If it was just the wire, it would have been a simple. But anyway, I had to go bigger, so I had to take an old cork bobber that I had. It's actually a styrofoam, but I shoved that into that hole to take up that gap, and it makes it nice and snug now. That baby ain't going nowhere. So it's nice and firm all the way down. Now we're on to mounting the bracket for the unit itself. Alright, I got the unit set to right where I want it. I had to take into account the lid here of being able to open that up, and my pedal drive unit goes right here. It's a bar that goes right here, so it fits down in here, so it has to clear this every time I take the kayak out. So I had to clear that. I had to clear this. So what I had to do is this thing here is actually a rod holder for sticking your rod tips up in here. I never use them. So I took my Dremel and I buzzed this whole little chunk out of here. And now my unit fits in there. Something like that right there, which gives me the clearance for this coming in and out, and clearance for that right there. So now, and we got it, we're sitting on the seat where I got a good view of it. So now we are going to, there's a little plate under here that sits onto. I got to take the unit off, and now I got to get the plate and mount the plate, get that etched out, and oops, almost knocked the dang thing over. And then I got to drill a hole down through here, which these wires are going to come up through. So that's the plan now, and we're going to get to that. Okay, we've drilled our little pilot holes and got my screws set for this mounting bracket. I've got this little slot right here. That's going to be where the wires are going to come up around it. I got a screw on the back of this. It's going to lock down the unit to the bracket to that mount. So that's what we're going to do right now. I've got my wires fed up through to where I got to wrap all that stuff up, that going all inside. And I did do the same thing with that cork. I crammed that cork down in there to make that nice and solid so now my wires don't move anywhere. So we're going to fasten that bracket on, and we'll see what we get to. Okay, we have drilled my little pilot holes and the main hole for the wires to come up through here. I've still got them all where I got to wind them up and put them inside. But I've got that on there. That's going to fasten for those 3 holes right here, there, and up at the top. I got a little slot right here that the wires are going to come out the back side of it. I got a screw nut on the back here that's going to fasten the unit mount to this mount. So that's what we're going to do right now. We now have this plate right here fastened. It's screwed in with 3 screws. Right there, I got my main hole that goes through the boat. The wires are right here to hook to the unit. They're going to come up the back. Now I need to put a screw through this to that to mount that. We're going to do that right now. Okay, we now have this screw down here. So now this is to the kayak itself. Now we're going to mount the unit. All right, we have her mounted. The wires come right up the back. And there's the unit. I still got the sheet on it. I have to take that off. What I'm going to do now is hook it to the battery and see what we got going on for, make sure we got live power. We have her hooked to the battery. And looky there. Of course it ain't going to read, there ain't no water. But it is on. We have power. We are now graphing. It might even be on a simulation mode because it's saying 6 foot or 9 foot 6 feet right here. It's probably just blipping out because it's not reading anything. There you can see it's 37, almost 38 degrees in my garage. That'll be the water temp. But yeah. I gotta remember how to get back to the, oh, it's that screen. That right there. I got all these different options. I've got a map that plots my everything that I went to. But yeah, we're gonna play with this baby. How do I get back? There we go. I'm gonna turn it off. And there we have her. We are now mounted. We are graphing. Now I got to clean everything up. But it is done. I just got to wrap my wires up, get them tucked away. I need to make a little hole here for the battery so it's not flip-flopping around, moving it in and out of the truck. But yeah, we're going to be fishing in style now. Well, I gotta say, I pulled it off. All right, we're going to be fishing in style now. That was quite the little chore. I had to do a lot of little MacGyvering to get it all to fit just right. Because there was a lot of tight quarters and cables weren't long enough and bracket didn't quite fit. But we made it work. So next time you're going to see this little thing, we are going to be fishing in style. We're going to know exactly how deep, water temp, everything. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this little episode. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you out on the water in Walleyeotta. Go fishing.